You know what's keeping most doctors from building real wealth through real estate? Well, it's not about having too little cash or missing out on a whole bunch of opportunities. FOMO, I know, right? The biggest problem is trying to follow advice that just isn't made for busy, burnt out doctors like us, or like I used to be. I see it all the time, brilliant docs who want to invest but get stuck navigating complex strategies that don't fit into the reality of patient care, long shifts, and family life. Here's the truth though. There's really only one metric that determines our winners and losers when it comes to real estate investing. Just one number. And this number makes all the difference in the world between whether you're struggling to actually building genuine wealth. And that's exactly what we're focusing on in this episode today. No complicated formulas, no dozens and dozens of spreadsheets, no guru speak, just the simple, single, most important number that you need to know to build real estate wealth through real estate as a doctor. Welcome back to the Luxury Rental Doctor Show. I'm Dr. Rachel Gainsbrugh, your host. Hello. And before we dive in, I need to make sure that I share something super personal with you. When I first started out with real estate investing, with that entire journey, I was exactly where many of you are right now. So picture this. I was struggling, pulling these 14-hour shifts at the hospital. I was carrying $500,000 in student loan debt, fighting for my life, desperately trying to figure out how to build wealth without completely burning myself out to a crisp. Every night after my shift, I would drag my exhausted self home and try to make sense of real estate investing. My browser tabs were filled to the brim with different strategies, different markets, different terms that made my already exhausted brain just hurt even more. Terms such as syndications, wholesaling, accredited investor requirements, mobile home park investing, storage facilities, commercial real estate, long-term rentals, you name it. And let's be honest, none of these strategies, not one of them, were designed for someone like me, someone who was on call every third night, or someone who was rushing to the OR at 3 a.m. I kept thinking, you know what? There has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. And that's when everything changed. So through all of the noise, through all of the complexity, I discovered one principle that was my ultimate filter that transformed my entire real estate investing approach. And that principle was focusing on the one metric that mattered the most: cash flow. Okay, now I can see your eyes rolling and probably your eyebrows raised, thinking, cash flow? Seriously? Rach, that was your big revelation? I get it. It sounds almost too simple, right? But here's the deal. We as doctors, we are so trained to handle complexity. We're out here drawing fishbone Chem 7 diagrams at 3 a.m., tracking sodium trends. We're breaking down blood gases on the fly. We're mapping out drug-drug interactions in our head while there is a code happening, and we're managing that as well. We could sketch out an entire patient's disease process on the back of a progress note between consults. That's our world, and we're good at it. I think sometimes medicine attracts a certain type, right? And yes, we are good at it. But when it comes to building wealth, complexity is the enemy of action. It's the enemy of profits. Every extra calculation, every additional metric, every complicated strategy, they're all just barriers between you and your first cash flowing investment property. So think about it. When was the last time you had a free 3 hours or so to analyze cap rates after your 12-hour shift? Or when was the last time you had the mental energy to evaluate market trends after back-to-back surgeries? That's why I am obsessed with making things as simple and as straightforward as possible for doctors, because at the end of an exhausting day, you need a strategy that works with your reality and not against it. Let me tell you about Dr. Sarah. Now, Dr. Sarah, she's an emergency medicine doc. She's out of the Midwest, not the Midwest, the Midwest. Y'all, This story is going to blow your mind. So picture this, Dr. Sarah, she was just where you are now. Some of you, you've taken all the classes, you've got your internal rate of return measured out, all of the gurus, all the spreadsheets, you've analyzed every single metric you can think of. Cap rates, IRRs, appreciation, depreciation, you name it. She's doing all the things that the expert told her to do, right? And it makes sense. These aren't bad metrics, guys. Don't come for me. These are not bad metrics, but it's just not in alignment with what we are trying to do in healthcare, with the lifestyle of a busy medical professional. So that is why I'm clapping back against it. Okay. So as she is measuring all these things, guess what? 2 whole years go by. And you know how many properties she had? 0. Absolutely nothing. Zilch, zero, nada. And you know why? Because she was stuck in what I call the analysis paralysis trap. And let me tell you something, this is what happens when we try to overcomplicate things. But here's where it gets good. When she and I, we sat down together, we did something that changed everything for her. We looked at all of those complicated spreadsheets, we poured all over them. We looked at all of her fancy projections, all of her calculations. And you know what I did? I was like, great, this is so great, Dr. Sarah. No offense, they're out. Throw them all out. I threw them all out. And I'm serious. So instead, I said, we're going to focus for this first property. We're going to focus on the one metric that matters, one simple calculation that matters, and answer one simple question. I just want you to ask yourself a question about every single deal that comes across your desk. And that question is, will this property put money in my pocket every single month? Where's the mic? I want to drop the mic. Here's the mic. Drop mic. Mic drop. Just kidding, but I'm not kidding. Will this property put money in my pocket every single month? It's not that hard. It's not that serious, right? And so y'all, within 60 days, yes, I said 60 days of us working together, she closed on her first property. And today that same property is bringing in $8,600 every single month. And it is due to a booking that she received from an insurance company where she's hosting a displaced family who had to leave their home due to a water pipe that burst. Okay, so really, really important strategy. That's really significant income. That's a little bit over 6 figures income, right? 8,300 would be 6 figures. She's at 8,600. So she's over $100,000 a year in nearly passive income, because these are some of the best guests to work with. And this is all because we dare to keep it simple. We dare to keep it simple. Okay. Now, I can already hear some of you say, but Dr. Rachel, what about market analysis? What about cash on cash return? What about tax efficiency? What about appreciation potential? Yes, don't worry. All of those are important too. But first, we've got to get down back to the basics. We got to get down back to something that is so meaningful for you. It will make you want to hop out of bed in the morning and say, okay, I do have a real estate property that is bringing in something meaningful for me for whatever stage in life that I'm at. Okay, so first, let's break down the exact 3 steps that I walk Dr. Sarah to. These are steps that I use specifically for busy doctors like us. These are not theoretical. These are actual strategies. I use them on myself, and they're battle tested, essentially, right? They're battle tested. They're moves that you can make right now in the real world. Okay. So for those of you who are pulling those crazy overnight, back-to-back 7-on, 7-off shifts like me, these are the steps that work for you. Step one is know your investor identity. That is step 1. Okay. So before we dive in, I want you to grab your phone or grab a piece of paper. I've got an iPad. I don't have a piece of paper to demo for you. Grab your phone or grab a piece of paper, and I want you to answer a question. Okay. So write down your answer to this one question. If you could replace your clinical income tomorrow, what's the first thing that you would change about your schedule? Don't audit yourself. Don't edit yourself. Write down the first thing that comes to mind. If you could replace your clinical income tomorrow, what's the first thing you would change about your schedule? Got it? Actually, write it down, my friend. I will wait. Just kidding, I'll move on. But nevertheless, write it down because you know what? That is your why. That is going to drive everything that we do next. Okay. All right, guys. So let's talk about step one. This is huge, knowing your investor identity. Now, I've worked with hundreds of docs, and let me tell you, I've discovered something really interesting. We as doctors, we are not all investing the same way, and that's completely okay. I've actually had the pleasure of helping over 2,000 medical professionals, so doctors, physicians, dentists, pharmacists, nurses. And what I have found is that there is a variety of ways that they're investing in real estate. I've noticed there are three main types of investors, three main types of medical professional investors, three main types of doctor investors, if you will. And this is super important because once you know which one you are, like which bucket you fall in, everything else comes much clearer. You know, that's where we gain that clarity that we need. Okay, so first off, we've got what I call the cash flow crusader. Okay, cash flow crusader. So listen, if you're thinking every single dollar must count, this is you. You're a cash flow crusader. So these are my docs who want to maximize every dollar from their property. They're laser focused on creating that serious monthly income. I'm talking about $5,000 plus per month per property in cash flow. Okay, and cash flow. And that is the kind of cash flow I truly believe that literally replace a good portion of your clinical income. You do that once and then you do that twice. You've got something really, really spicy and really, really special. Okay, so whether you're leveraging a strategy like my insurance midterm rentals that we discussed a little bit earlier, those leases are really highly lucrative, or a bit more of a higher end luxury short-term rental, which is really another powerful tool as well. These are the properties that are able to get us that type of cash flow that the cash flow crusaders are often looking for. And the best part is once we've set it up, and we're going to talk about the systems that we use to set it up, we can build it in a way that it works around your crazy schedules. It works around your extra long shifts. Okay. So Dr. Elena, well, she was a doctor from Uzbekistan in the US. She is considered a nurse because of IMG paperwork, all blah, blah, blah. Right. But she came to me and she was approaching 50. And she came to me and she was a bit stressed. I will say that. I will say she was a bit stressed. She was a bit burnt out. She was working all day and then charting till 2 a.m. and picking up night shifts as well. It was taking over her whole life. And with tears in her eyes, she said to me, Dr. Rach, this job is killing me. My daughter's getting married. I'm missing everything. My husband and I used to dance tango on Thursdays together, but now we barely have time to breathe. Now she barely has time to breathe. This story hit close to home so much because many of us, this is where we started, right? Within 4 months of launching her short-term and midterm rentals, her two doors, I am so happy to announce that Dr. Elena, she cut down to part-time. She's now 0.5 FTE. She and her husband, Jimmy, they dance tango on Thursdays. She's now playing the piano again, and she gets to spend time with her new grandbaby. It's a girl. And so super excited about her. When she initially connected with me, we determined that she was a cash flow crusader. This is what a cash flow crusader looks like. Someone who is using real estate to break free from those crushing clinical hours, someone who's looking to reclaim their whole life. Okay. So whether it's using short-term rental properties or midterm rental properties or my two-door strategy, I love to use a hybrid of both. These docs are really laser focused on creating that replacement income that gives them back their life. Then there's the balanced bliss seeker. Let me tell you about Dr. Patel. Dr. Patel is a brilliant pediatrician. She's a pediatric surgeon actually out of the Chicago area. She wanted a property that could do double duty, make her some money and give her family precious family moments away from her day-to-day hospital grind. We helped her get this stunning beach house within her budget in Florida that brings in an extra $2,000 to $3,000 a month in cash flow. But here's what makes it super, super special. She's able to block out the slow seasons and use the property herself for whole weeks. No rental income during that time period, but just pure family time. She told me, Rachel, That time with my kids is worth more than any rental income. That's what I call living your best life, y'all. And finally, we've got the lifestyle dreamer. Y'all, meet Dr. Valerie, this incredible doc in her late 70s based out of Hawaii. She came to me with the vision, not just for the next 30 days, 60 days, or even for the next year, but for the next 3 generations. She wanted a family legacy property without draining her retirement. We found her this spectacular 13-bedroom property in Orlando, y'all. Okay? Now, this particular property, it doesn't hit those aggressive cash flow numbers that I love to target, like with our other investors, our balanced bliss seeker, or our cash flow crusaders, which is our most aggressive. But it perfectly serves her purpose. She's covering all of her expenses while making these incredible family moments. This is a legacy. When she told me that her first family reunion, she hosted it there with 4 generations under one roof. Oh my gosh, guys, I got the chills. Talk about hashtag goals. Now, let's help you to figure out what type of investor you are. Be honest with yourself. If you're thinking, Rachel, I am fighting for my life on these W-2 1099 streets. I need some income to start cutting back on the hours that I'm working or to replace my clinical income ASAP. I want you to think about that. If you're thinking about your call schedule right now or your next shift and your stomach is kind of dropping, you're probably my cash flow crusader. For those docs who are feeling burnt out and they are ready to let their property do all of the heavy lifting income-wise, that's you. Now, if you're thinking about, you know what, I actually enjoy my W-2. I just need a little backup plan. You might be my balanced bliss seeker. As a balanced bliss seeker, you're doing some serious heavy lifting here. Your property is actually working double duty. On one side, you're creating that cash flow, that safety net, right? Bringing in that steady income that can catch you if life throws you a curveball. And these days, y'all. But at the same time, it's not just about the money for you. These properties are also your escape. They're your personal haven. Like Dr. Patel with her beach house, you get to enjoy these spaces for yourself. You get to make memories with families and still have them generating you income when you're not there. You're not trying to completely escape medicine. You might even love your practice, but you're smart enough to know that you want both that extra financial security and the slice of the good life while you are still young to enjoy it. And I'm here for you. And if you're that person who's looking at your bank account right now, you're like, I have done well, okay? I have done well. Now what? Well, you're most likely my lifestyle dreamer, just like Dr. Valerie that we mentioned a little earlier. You're not focused on the monthly checks anymore. You just want a property that will cover its expenses. You're thinking more along the lines of those $1 million legacies, those $1 million memories that, you will have with your grandkids. You want to hear them saying, remember when we all got together at the family house? So that is what your driver is. So I want you to have a reality check. Okay. Have a reality check just for a second. Whether you are a cash flow crusader, whether you're a balanced bliss seeker or a lifestyle dreamer, own it. Every single one of these paths is meaningful for someone inside of our community. It's exactly where you might need to be right now. The worst thing for you to do is try to skip steps and try to force yourself into lifestyle dreamer when actually you need that cash flow to start making a difference in your life. Okay. So I don't want you to start running before you walk. I need you to be honest with yourself about where you are right now, your current reality, because you'll get to where you want to get to. We all will level up on our own time. The dream, true north, is to be that lifestyle dreamer, but it may not be your reality right now. Okay. So we got to match your strategy with what your reality is. That is how we build real wealth that lasts. So which one are you? Really? Take a moment, take like a second and just jot it down. You could use your note app on your phone or jot it down on a piece of paper. Okay. All right, now let's dive into step 2. I want to show you exactly how to make this happen. Step 2, calculate cash flow the easy way. Guys, let it be simple. In the good year of 2025, can we let it be simple? Okay, so let's talk about cash flow. This is where most doctors get stuck with the analytics, with analyzing every single metric under the sun, but we're going to keep it really simple. Okay, so are you ready for the magic formula to calculate cash flow? If you are, here it is. Here's the magic formula. What is cash flow? You take your monthly rental income, okay, and I'm banging this desk, your monthly rental income, the money that's coming in, you subtract it by the monthly expenses. That's the money that is going out, and that equals cash flow. That's it. Income minus expenses equals cash flow. Right? It is that simple. So put down all of the complexity. If a deal ever comes across your desk again, I want you to understand what is the cash flow. That means the money that is going to be deposited in your bank account after all expenses are paid. And it's got to be something that's meaningful enough that makes you want to jump out of the bed in the morning. If it's not, you know what? Our energy and our resources are better spent elsewhere. Just saying, do not come for me, okay? So I truly believe that this is the only number you need to focus on right now. If you fall into the categories that I mentioned a little bit earlier, the burnt out medical professional, the balanced bliss seeker, even the lifestyle dreamer. With the lifestyle dreamer, you're not going to have a ton of cash flow, but nevertheless, you're going to have enough revenue to cover your expenses, okay? So let's take a moment and revisit those investor types we talked about again. So your target cash flow depends on your investor type. So if you are a cash flow crusader, we're shooting for investment properties that can bring in an extra $5,000 plus per month per property. Okay, that is your clinical income replacement number. Maybe 2 properties will get you there, but nevertheless, that is significant. That is meaningful. That gets you closer to being able to cutting back on your clinical hours, which is super, super significant. If you are a balance of bliss seeker, this is where your property's doing double duty, you're enjoying it, it's bringing in some cash flow. We are shooting for $2,000 per month for those stays, okay? So this is a property that is serving as a safety net and a lifestyle property that you get to enjoy from time to time. And from a lifestyle dreamer perspective, as long as the property is covering its expenses without eating away at your retirement income or any of your additional resources, you're golden. Now, my beautiful friends, let me bust some myths wide open, okay? When people say, there's no more cash flow in real estate, you can't cash flow with real estate, let me translate and interpret what they're trying to tell you. What they have done, my guy or my gal or bruh, like my kids would call me from time to time, is they've unfortunately invested in maybe a big crowdfunding deal or a syndication where they lock up $100,000 of their hard-earned, cold, hard cash for 5 to 7 years. And what do they get in the interim? They'll get these tiny little paychecks for $75, $175 maybe monthly of what's called a preferred return. And it's just not enough to make them want to pop up out of bed in the morning, right? Or if they're not a syndicator, so if you're what's considered an accredited investor, you're now qualified to get into all these bad deals. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get blocked. I'm offending so many. There's no cash flow in real estate. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so some people are thinking of this because they invested in, a duplex or a quadplex or a 5-door property or a single family home or a syndication where each door or each property is making like $100 or $200 a month per property. And this is like traditional long-term landlord, unfurnished. They're barely clearing $500 a month after dealing with expenses. Say there's a broken dishwasher, the property manager is like chasing them down to, replace the dishwasher. And now the $200 a month they've been accumulating for the past 6 months is gone. Rent is late, so the property manager has to chase down the tenants for late rent. Next thing you know, they've got evictions. Just Miss me, miss me with all of that drama. It is not a vibe. It is not a vibe. So when they tell you there's no cash flow in real estate, these are the people, and bless their hearts, I feel for them. This is what they're talking about. This is not for you, my friend. As a busy doctor, there's no reason for you to participate in those reindeer games, okay? Because the doctors inside of our community, they're experiencing something completely different. They're leveraging short-term rentals that are clearing $5,000 per month per property, midterm rentals that are hosting families who are displaced from their home due to disaster, and they're being paid a premium from the insurance company, anywhere from $5,000, $7,500, $9,500 per month. So these numbers are real. However, they're not fully aware of these strategies, but these are the strategies that my doctor community need to lean into. Okay, so here's what it really looks like. And that is why I call it my two-door strategy, where I focus on high quality, I call them luxury short-term rentals and luxury midterm rentals. And the midterm rentals are those month-to-month rentals that we rent our properties out to the insurance companies. Okay, so my two-door strategy has been a total game changer for the docs inside of our community. So when I first started off, we purchased a property for $290,000 in a really good neighborhood. It was probably like the worst house in the best neighborhood, to be honest. So hint, hint, I'm dropping the T. And we got a loan at a 5% down payment, which was amazing. We used a local credit union. So this was our very first door. We furnished it with some furniture that we purchased off of Facebook Marketplace. If I'm being totally transparent, a girl's got to start somewhere. This property was bringing in $6,500 a month. Our mortgage was $1,500 a month. I was floored. I said, you know what? Let's do it again, because I recognized that if I could do this once and I could do it twice, that was enough for me to either cut back, me and my husband to either cut back or leave our W-2 behind altogether, right? If we were to do it twice. Okay, so fast forward, door number 2. This is where we learned about the insurance relocation strategy. This second door that we purchased, it was for $310,000 in the same market. You know, why reinvent the wheel? Let's just repeat the same thing. But we went just a smidge larger. So we went from a 4-bedroom to purchasing a 5-bedroom for a little bit more. Now, this property within 2 months was making $9,500 monthly. The mortgage on that property was about $2,100 a month. Guys, these are just like numbers that I pulled out of the air. These are very, very strategic hosting strategies, because when you're serving families like these insurance families or displaced families that have experienced disaster and catastrophe, you're serving them at some of the most vulnerable moments in their lives. And so what we were able to do is to create really a beautiful furnished home that didn't break the bank for someone who lived in that current market. They were being displaced. Again, they're being displaced. And they now have a home away from home, somewhere that they could hang their hat while they're monitoring their house and making sure that their home renovations are happening in a timely manner. Okay. So at the end of the day, guys, you're not just running this real estate landlord tenant business. You're actually providing a safe place where families could feel normal during a crisis. Okay, so this is where I'm going, guys. And I'm going to get on a soapbox for a minute before I forget. I want to get on a soapbox. There is so much power that comes with specialization, right? We all know once you specialize, you pick your specialty, just like in medicine. This is where you could really change the game. So I understand generalists, we do make a good living. Those of us who are generalists, you're going to make a good living. But specialists, guys, they thrive. They're not just surviving. Specialists thrive. Similar to what we're doing here with real estate, the riches are in the niches. So when you decide, I'm going to get laser focused on exactly who it is that I want to serve, that changes everything. Okay. So again, we're not trying to be everything to everybody. We're just not. We are specialists, guys. We're specialists in the midterm rentals, specifically displaced homeowners. We're serving their families. Those of us who are launching short-term rentals, we're short-term rentals. We're focused on multi-generational, multi-families, people traveling with children, pets, the grands, And we're creating a real home, a home away from home that welcomes them, not just any old place that they can crash at, right? I want you to dial in. That's why I'm like looking really laser focused. I want you to dial in on the specific type of guest that you want to serve, the specific type of guest that is lucrative, if I'm being honest. Because when you understand, when you really get laser focused and you understand exactly who you're serving, just like in medicine, that's when you truly blow your competition out of the water. Okay. That's when you're able to walk a mile in their shoes and set up your property in such a way that you're serving them at the highest possible level. You've created a home away from home. And the beautiful thing is when that guest sees your property, they recognize, okay, Rachel knows exactly what it is that I need. My competition may be a little bit cheaper. They're doing this, that, and the other. However, they know that you are going to be able to serve them at the highest possible level. They're not going to want to stay with the competition. That's risky business, right? That's risky business. They know that your house is fully equipped and is ready to serve and to take them on. 2-3 generations on, right? So I absolutely love that. And so what I love about this strategy is, yes, with the insurance, you're making a really lucrative income, but simultaneously you're helping a family in need. You're creating your own substantial wealth strategy, and you're helping a family in their most vulnerable time. So to me, that's a win-win-win situation. And that is why I think it's great for healthcare professionals to dive into this particular strategy, because it's in so much alignment. Our guest care is in so much alignment with our patient care. Okay. And I'm going to, no offense, but I'm probably going to offend some people. What we're talking about here, your property manager is not trying to do it for you. They're not. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you're fully aware. Okay, all right, so I want to share a few examples of how we were able to implement this. I remember Dr. Esther, she was 8 months pregnant when she started with me, and she got her very first booking. It was $7,500 a month for 3 months for a family who was displaced due to water damage. It was a 4-bedroom home in a really nice neighborhood with good schools. The property needed a little something, a little bit of flooring and paint, a little lipstick, nothing too crazy. But she got that booking even before the property was fully ready for the guests to come in. They booked for 3 months. They had to extend for another 3 months. Her mortgage is $3,300 a month. The rental income was $7,500 a month. You do the math. It was a great start for her. So Dr. Esther, she's a hospitalist in the Southeast market. Dr. Katie out of California, she's a pharmacist. She's a mama of 3 kids that were under 5 years old when we started working together. She found a property in Oklahoma, of all places. This particular property brought in $86,000 per year. She went ahead and got a second one. That one brought in $97,000 a year, and she got a larger property in the Southeast. That one brings in $289,000 a year. So that one was like, oh my gosh, a home run. Okay, so she's really making a dent from these 3 properties. She says, you know what, you said 2, but I want 3. And by the way, she is really taking advantage of some massive tax savings. Her taxes in California are through the roof. So she is doing a lot of income shifting activities. She did cost segregation studies, bonus depreciation to get to keep a lot more of that money that she was able to make, because she does get paid really well in California, but she doesn't get to keep it. Well, with the real estate strategy, she gets to keep it, which is awesome. And just a couple of weeks ago, Gordon, he's actually a nurse in our community. Gordon is looking forward to retirement very soon. He got a wild booking. It was a family that needed a 6-month stay because someone, like a contractor, came to pressure wash their house. They pressure washed it so freaking hard, guys, that the water seeped into the property and damaged it. And there's mold. Unreal. So these are some of the unexpected situations that keep happening consistently. They create this consistent demand in a variety of markets. Again, whether it's water damage, whether it's fire damage, whether it's a tree falling on your property, whether it's hail, it's wild, right? So that water damage had nothing to do with the weather. That was just, I don't know, is it negligence? I don't know. Goodness gracious. Okay, so we talked about Dr. Elena a little bit earlier. Now, she had her short-term rental in the Poconos of Pennsylvania that was doing great, bringing in more than $5,000 per month in cash flow. Amazing property. You couldn't tell how lovely it is from the outside. So it's just an absolutely incredible property. She's located in Simsbury, Connecticut, just like kind of a smallish town. She was worried. She's like, well, I kind of want to do the midterm rental here, but I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work. She already had a property that she was going to place on the market for sale. And I told her, you know what, let's go ahead and test it out in that market. And you know what, lo and behold, something called a microburst hit that town, meaning like a mini tornado out of nowhere. And so now she's locked in for 6 months booking because of that microburst. She's making about $5,000 per month. Her mortgage is $1,100 per month. Goodness gracious, right? So super, super excited for her. That is her second door, and she's looking to get her third door under wraps. However, she's excited. She wants to do this full time. She's already cut back to 0.5 FTE, and she wants to cut back even more. So I am here for it. I'm here to support her every step of the way. All right, so I got a question from our community that says, okay, Rachel, these numbers are a little bit high. They sound a little too good to be true. But here's the deal. I just think it's important to take full control of whatever investment strategy that you're leveraging. And I know a lot of times we hear these great deals. There's a lot of FOMO built around it, handing something over, our funds, our hard-earned funds over to someone who's more knowledgeable feels like that's going to be the answer, but all you're doing is waiting for some mysterious payday. And I just don't want that for you. Okay. So what I want for you are actual real numbers, actual real dollars that are hitting your bank account. That is what we're talking about. All the numbers I shared with you today are actual dollars hitting your bank account. Okay, I got another question in our community about market crashes. What about market crashes? Well, guess what, guys? Market crashes, unfortunately, all the time. And sadly, when markets crash, we see more insurance claims. We see more relocations. During the 2018 real estate crash, pipes were still bursting. Fires were still igniting. Trees were still falling on houses. And this is why this strategy is pandemic proof, it's market proof, it's recession proof, all the things. As a rental property owner, specifically a property that is designed to serve this population, you're not beholden to the impact that the black rock or black stone these folks have. You're not beholden to what's going on in the market. You, my friend, you're in complete control. You're not a Fortune 100 company, and that's a good thing. You're in complete control because at the end of the day, you're not at the mercy of someone else, a sponsor or syndicator making decisions on your behalf. You're not trapped in a deal where you can't make the moves that you need to make. And I think that is the beauty of being your own investor, your own boss in this real estate investing world, because you could quickly pivot just like that. You can adjust your strategy. You can make your smart decision that serves you, that serves your family based on exactly what's happening to your properties. Okay. When you are responsible for your own actions, you're going to do things the right way. You're going to do things that are going to be in service to the guests that you have decided that you want to serve. And that's how you get that freedom. You get the freedom to navigate whatever market conditions come your way because you're going to do the right thing for your guests. Okay. I get another question inside of our community. And we have a pretty big Facebook community, guys, so check it out. But I get another question that says something along the lines of, well, will this work in my market? Is my market right for this? That's a great question. I'm going to be fully transparent. There are two markets that I have seen that this does not work well. Okay, so market number one are markets that are extremely rural, where there's not a lot of density of people that you can serve. It's not going to work well. And the second one are markets where there's extreme seasonality, meaning you have a a vacation rental market like Cape May, where the market opens and shuts down 12 weeks out of the year. It opens and then it shuts down the rest of the year, meaning the grocery store shut down, the little pizza parlor shuts down. So those homes are not the primary home for folks. 90% of those homes are secondary and tertiary homes. This strategy doesn't work in those markets because if something were to happen to those secondary homes, guess what? They have their primary homes to stay at. So those are the two markets that it will not work in. It works. It works in so many markets. I truly believe it works everywhere else. Remember Elena in Simsbury, right? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Remember Katie in Oklahoma? I clap back against Louisiana because I don't like the insurance policies in Louisiana. All day our members in Louisiana are getting bookings. So it works. Disasters happening everywhere. 1 in 20 families are going to put in a claim this year. 1 in 20 households are going to put in a claim this month for water damage. Okay, so keep that in mind. Short-term rentals work really well in touristic spots as well as spots where the occupancy rate for short-term rentals are 50% and above. So for short-term rentals, it doesn't necessarily have to be a tourist hotspot. Okay. For those of you who are thinking, I don't have time to manage properties, guys, these midterm rental guests, they stay with us anywhere from 4 to 13 months. In my own personal experience, I have inquiries coming in from California Palisades right now. They're wanting a 2-year lease. Okay, so these are some of the best guests that I personally have had the pleasure of serving. Your mileage may vary, different markets may behave differently, but I want you to understand that this strategy is so well positioned for medical professionals like Dr. Esther, who was 8 months pregnant, about to give birth to a baby. She placed that family in her property. They were there for 6 months. She didn't hear a peep from them. She said this was one of her absolute best guest renting experience. She actually cut her teeth on long-term renting. She said this was far better. The property stayed in tip-top shape because baked into that monthly rental rate, she added a mandatory cleaning fee to protect the asset. So finally, when the 6 months were over, the place was in great shape. It just needed to turn over for the next insurance guest. Okay. All right. So my friends, I want you to take a moment and jot this down. 75gems.com, 75gems.com. I've created for you a list of my top 75 cities with the highest profitability for short and midterm rentals. Jot it down, bookmark it somewhere for later. Don't run off just yet because I have the third thing to share with you. You're not going to want to miss this. Okay. We're here, my friend. Step three, we are talking about protecting your cash flow. Okay. So remember where we talked about all this beautiful cash flow you're going to make? Well, we got to protect it, right? This is where the magic happens because getting those monthly big checks, that's just the first step. Keeping them coming in without real estate taking over your entire life, that is the secret sauce, my friends. Okay, so let me break down the 3 protections that will help you sleep well at night. First and foremost, it's premium property positioning. Okay, really, really important. This is my absolute favorite, and I've alluded to this a little bit earlier, but I want to dive in a little bit deeper because it's oh so very important. This is where you stand out from the crowd, okay? There's so many landlords out there. The competition is steep, okay? The competition is steep. However, regular landlords, they're not thinking about their investment property the way you are. We want to elevate our properties and position it at a whole different level. Okay, so Dr. Patel, she was renting out her unfurnished property for $2,800 a month, just like everyone else in her market. In the market, when you're at $2,800 a month, unfurnished, long-term rental, you have your comps, and everyone's at a certain level. There's no reason or there's no way for you to really go far above that unless you have some crazy amenity that you have placed in the property. So what we did with this particular property, we repositioned it for an insurance midterm rental and boom, $7,200 a month. That's an extra $53,000 a year, y'all. Okay, so this is the importance of really positioning your property to serve these higher paying. I don't want to call them more affluent because, yeah, they may be more affluent, but higher paying, higher profitability types of guests. Okay, so again, these are families who are displaced, and the homeowner's insurance is paying for their stay. Their property is being repaired, they're locals. They're undergoing that renovation because their home has been destroyed for whatever reason. Okay. And though they're going through something very, very tragic, one of my biggest worries were, oh my gosh, they're going through so much. How can I even ask them for money in their like time of need? That's why I would never be a good long-term landlord, guys. I would fall for all of the little stories. I would fall for all of the reindeer games where here's the good news. Here's the good news. They're not paying you directly. They're just not. You're getting those reliable checks coming in a big old FedEx envelope month after month after month by their insurance company, State Farm, Progressive, Allstate, Travelers. That is peace of mind, my friend. That is peace of mind. All right. So number 2, the backup plan blueprint. I have trust issues, y'all. So the backup plan blueprint is non-negotiable. Let me tell you about Dr. Funmi out of Indianapolis. She is absolutely crushing it because she's leveraging what we call the hybrid methodology. Her primary strategy is to serve insurance families who are displaced. They live in her community. She leverages them as midterm rentals. However, if she has a gap, a little bit of a dry spell, she flips her property into a short-term rental. As a matter of fact, when Taylor Swift came to town, she was able to take advantage of those rates. She was able to quickly pivot to a short-term rental, and she made an absolute killing. Okay, so here's what's really important to understand. I want you to understand this strategy and be really, really laser focused on who it is that is your most profitable guests. So in my market, my most profitable guests are my insurance policy holders. And guys, love them to pieces. The insurance pays on time, no issues there. However, let's be real. You want to have a backup plan, okay? So this is where it gets interested. You want to really focus on the backup plan that is going to make sense for your particular market. So every market has its own unique opportunity. So if you're in a higher end luxury short-term rental market, keep that in mind. Our philosophy is to keep it simple. Less is more. We're not trying to build a portfolio of 50 properties from the get-go. We're not trying to serve everyone. We are focused on guests who are willing to pay a premium for premium experiences. And that premium experience may be a home away from home, and the payor may be the insurance company. So keep that in mind as well. So this is really where all the magic happens. And I want to share something that I've created just for you. I have created a custom GPT tool that we call the Profitable Guest Profile. You just type in your market or type in your address, and it gives you a detailed breakdown of the most profitable guest avatars inside of your specific market. We will add it in the show notes. Check it out in the show notes, guys, because this is an absolute game changer. You get a better understanding of your backup strategy. So for every property, what's important to understand is your primary focus, which should be the insurance. And I keep harping on this, but that is our bread and butter. And I want to make sure that if you're multitasking, come back to me, because this is so important. So the insurance is your bread and butter. It brings in those reliable checks month after month. But here's where a lot of investors get stuck. They limit themselves to one strategy. If the insurance isn't coming in, they freeze. And we don't want that for you. Okay. So go all in on this particular strategy. Make sure that you're taking a look at HOA restrictions and HOA rules in your market. I don't like HOA. I don't like strict rules that will box me in. I'm super passionate about the hybrid model where I can flip-flop back and forth. Like Dr. Funmi, when the displaced rentals were complete, she was able to then leverage a short-term rental booking and get that juicy Taylor Swift booking in between. And that's all due to having the freedom, right? To maximize her profits as the demand changes. So that flexibility is absolutely crucial. I never want you to position in a position where you're stuck with just one option. So having multiple options is the way to go. Third, and this right here is oh so very crucial, the power team protection plan. Okay, hear me out. Do not let the word team intimidate you immediately, right? So this is going to be much simpler than you think. So think about it like at work, right? You have your own team at work that helps you out. So it's similar to that. Okay. So let me share with you our situation. My husband and I, when we were launching our properties, we were bringing in a nice amount of cash flow per month. We were managing all of our properties ourselves. We use technology. We use outside cleaners and a handyman who's still with us today. Shout out to Jose. And with technology, especially today's technology, it's even easier than ever, guys. Okay. So here's what you really need to start. Number one, you need a reliable cleaner and maybe a backup for emergencies. Number two, you need a really good handyman to handle most of your basic needs, your basic maintenance needs. And number three, guys, we use a lot of automations when we were first starting out. And now we're using automations and AI tools for our guest communication. And that is the secret sauce. So what's really exciting about our AI chat box, they are the newest member of your team. Okay. They work 24/7. We actually scaled up to 30 properties before having to hire someone on board. And it was because of those pre-AI automation chatbots. So yes, I do recommend eventually getting to hiring a virtual assistant because so much of our guest messaging runs on automation. You might not need one right away. We've got automatic check-in instructions, automatic welcome messages. We send out the codes automatically. All of this is scheduled out in cadences, the property guides, the local recommendations. It runs really, really smoothly without us having to lift a finger. Oftentimes, we'll get a question that the AI bot is smart enough to know how to answer the question. You have to train it. We've trained it along the way. It now knows to respond at the right cadence. I remember when we first started, the chatbot would respond like that within a second. You can already tell that it was a bot. And so we continue to train it and improve upon its language skills. It's using a large language model now, which is amazing. And I could see this delaying your need to hire outside help in the near future. So if you're in the OR, these systems are processing those amazing $5,000 a month bookings at $7,500 a month checks. While you're on call, you're handling guest communications. While you're with your family, they're managing your business for you. So guys, when I tell you AI is your newest hire, it takes this active income strategy and turns it into nearly passive income, okay? So this is where I think everything comes together. Just like in medicine, you specialize. That's what truly, truly helps you to excel. When you combine these amazing strategies with the right systems, with the right team members, you can scale from making $5,000 on one property, just one door, to then adding your second door and eventually adding an amazing portfolio that cash flows for you. At that point, you can either focus more on your practice if you choose, or on your family time if that is your priority. So in review, let's talk about step three. I want to put a bow around step three. Step three is all about protecting your cash flow. The three key protections are the following. You want to first have your property positioned in a premium way. So premium property positioning to make sure that you're getting those reliable checks from the insurance companies. When you are serving displaced families, guys, you are earning anywhere from 30 to 40% above market rate, just like Dr. Patel, $2,800 to $7,500 a month, due to this cash flow protection process. Second, your hybrid strategy that's keeping maximum flexibility to pivot when opportunities arise. Look at Dr. Funmi in Indianapolis. She locked into her midterm rental. However, in between bookings, she was able to leverage a short-term stay and maximize her returns in her particular market. And finally, your power team, keeping it super simple with one good cleaner, one reliable handyman, and a whole bunch of automations. This is how my husband and I were able to scale without needing a ton of extra help, without having a huge payroll bill. And this is how I believe that you can protect your cash flow while building your wealth. Whew. I feel like we have covered a lot today. We started by understanding your investor identity, whether you're a cash flow crusader looking to replace your clinical income, you're a balanced bliss seeker building your safety net, or a lifestyle dreamer creating generational wealth. Then we dove into calculating your cash flow. Remember, our monthly rental income minus our monthly rental expenses equal your cash flow. That's the formula. That's the one metric that matters. Nothing else matters other than that one metric. And finally, we wrapped up with these 3 key protections to keep your cash flow consistent and growing. Now, I know that many of you have got a few more questions about finding the right properties, about implementing these strategies in your particular market, or setting up your systems. That is why I would love to invite you to join me for our next Two-Door Masterclass, where I break down all of that for you step by step. Just head over to TwoDoorDocs.com. That's the number 2, DOORDOCS.com. Head over there right after this episode. Bring your questions, bring your goals, and let me show you exactly how to make this work for you. I'll see you there.